Former Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders might have just learned his first NFL teaching or welcome to the moment sort of vibe as he had a little bit of a run-in with the law.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. We are also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow. We got interviews with current, former players, people around the Buffs program. We got it all here. So you don't want to miss out, and you'll want to share this with a friend so you can talk to somebody about it. Like I said, Kevin Borba, host of the show. I also cover Colorado and college football for Athlon Sports. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders. I think a lot of us agree that he was done dirty by the pre-draft NFL process. From what I was told, I was told the same things that was being reported, which he didn't absolutely nail it. That being said, do I think he should have fallen to the fifth round? No. Do I think what happened Tuesday at 12:24 a.m. was avoidable and will be a life lesson for Shedeur? Yes. So for those of you that don't know, Shedeur was ticketed in a suburb of Cleveland at 12:24 a.m., so around midnight, which we all know nothing good comes after midnight. That's always what my parents told me, especially when I would get in trouble for going out after midnight, was that nothing good happens after midnight. And for Shedeur Sanders, he learned that lesson, and luckily no one was hurt. Don't love the situation. He was going 101 miles per hour in a 60 mile per hour speed limit zone. He got a ticket. He's not going to jail or anything. He could pay the ticket. I think the fine was like $200 to $250, or he could go to court and contest it. At the end of the day, I think this is a life lesson. Now, why is this a life lesson, might you ask? Because I think Shedeur Sanders, not that he didn't know this already, he's a Sanders, right? He's been dealing with the pressure his whole life. He's been dealing with he's been dealing with being under a spotlight his whole life. He's not new to this, right? He's not new to people rooting for him to have a downfall, for him to struggle, for him to faceplant. But at the end of the day, you're a high-profile quarterback who is trying to take your career to the next level, right? While a lot of people, me included, think that Shedeur Sanders will be the starter for the Cleveland Browns by the end of the year, right now he's fighting for a roster spot. And this isn't the type of thing that gets you cut. But at the same time, you don't want to be the Johnny Manziel or the Jamarcus Russell. These are very dramatic comparisons where you're a young quarterback who hasn't proved anything that's causing trouble, right? Because then you don't have as long of a leash. At the end of the day, everything Shedeur Sanders does is amplified. I don't know if many of you guys are familiar with Zach Edey, Purdue legend, the 7-foot dude that was like a pivotal piece of Purdue's success over the past few years. He also got a ticket today or yesterday for going 101 miles per hour. But guess what? Everyone's talking about Shedeur because it's Shedeur Sanders, right? So if you're Shedeur, I think you already know this, but you have one of the highest profiles in the NFL. It kind of shows right now a lack of judgment, right? Should you have been speeding at that time? Should you have been speeding 40 miles per hour over the speed limit at all? No. It's a reminder that, hey, like, you need to make the right decisions. It's a reminder to be like, hey, in every aspect of life, I am being analyzed. I am being critiqued. I am being watched. Obviously, it's one of those things where he's going to pay the fine, probably move on. But I think this is an opportunity for him to sort of take this and run with it in terms of like, yeah, I messed up, right? This one's on me. My judgment was off. I was speeding. I wanted to show off my whatever vehicle he was in. I don't know. And I just wasn't thinking, right? We've all sped before, right? We've all gone over the speed limit. I don't know if it's been over 100 miles per hour, but it's one of those things where this doesn't define him, but this should be sort of like a, hey, you are not invincible. You have to abide by all the rules. You have to be on your P's and Q's, regardless of what you're doing. And again, I don't want people to think this is me saying Shedeur Sanders is like a hoodlum or something, because it's not the case, right? He seems like a great guy. He's been at youth sports camps helping out. He's been going to schools. As soon as he got into Cleveland, he made sure to be a pillar of the community, and I would say he's already a pillar of the community. That being said, he made a mistake, and that's okay, but he needs to learn from this mistake, learn that, you know what, I'm trying to be the face of the franchise, and the face of the franchise can't be getting in trouble like this, right? You don't see Patrick Mahomes personally getting in trouble like this. You don't see Lamar Jackson getting into trouble, Josh Allen, whoever it is, right? So Shedeur Sanders, learning moment. I don't think it defines him. I don't think this should be something that people hold over him, but I do think this is something that he could look at and go, you know what? I messed up here. We're going to learn from it. I'm going to pay the fine. I'm going to take this seriously and not just brush it off and continue on with my day. I think the more of a big deal you make it, like blah, 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 I was doing this, or I don't think it's that big of a deal or whatever. There's no need for that, right? Shedeur's an adult. He gets it. He's 22, 23 years old. He gets it. He gets what he knows what he should and should not be doing. So at the end of the day, Shedeur, little slap on the wrist here. I'm sure he'll be fine. When we come back, Colorado's quarterback room was snubbed as one of the best in the country, and I need to talk about it. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. They have surprising insights. When I started using Monarch Money, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, right? You get a little lazy in the kitchen. It's like, it's fine. We'll just get whatever DoorDash, right? We'll get whatever Grubhub or whatever. And then all of a sudden it adds up and you're spending a few $100 where you could be putting that towards some debt, whatever it is, saving for your kids' college. I don't know. But either way, Monarch Money helps you take control of your finances. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's Monarch, as in the butterfly, money.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. I was going to say wherever you get your quarterbacks. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. Let's talk about it. Athlon Sports, my company, released our quarterback rankings, and they released them via, it's the top 10 quarterback units for college football 2025. And it doesn't shock me who's at the top, who's near the top. But what did shock me was that Colorado was left off. And I'll sort of run through the list, and then I'll make the case for Colorado. Number one, there's just so much buzz around this room. It's hard. It doesn't shock me. Texas. They have Arch Manning, nephew of Peyton, Eli, grandson of Archie. He's headlining, leading the way. Only 2 career starts. I think you could make an argument that this room should be lower. That being said, it's Arch Manning. So I think there's a lot of buzz there. Clemson, number 2. You have Cade Klubnik, who breakout year 2024, led them to the playoff, is going to look to sort of take Clemson back to that level they once were, which feels like such a long time ago, but it was only like 4 or 5 years ago, I think. Like Clemson was frequently contending for a CFP spot. They also have Christopher Vizina, who's a top recruit, who's probably going to succeed Cade Klubnik. Number 3, Garrett Nussmeier, LSU, right? They have a really good quarterback room there. They also landed former Mississippi State quarterback Michael Van Buren, and they also had Colin Hurley, who's a 4-star recruit. South Carolina, Lenoris Sellers, Aaron Noland. Lenoris is probably the best dual threat quarterback in the country, which leads me to my next point, or arguably the best. Aaron Noland, former 5-star. Florida, DJ Lagway. Obviously, he's carrying that group. Penn State, Drew Aller. Number 6, Ohio State. 7, they have a lot of inexperienced guys. Don't love this. Arizona State, Sam Levitt. He's pretty much the headliner. They didn't mention anyone else. Jeff Sims apparently is still in that quarterback room. Good Lord. Miami, Carson Beck, Luke Nickel, Emory Williams. And then 10, they have Dante Moore. Now, let me just say, I'm taking Caden Salter over Dante Moore, over what we last saw of Carson Beck, over whoever starts at Ohio State right now. over Drew Aller. So, and probably, yeah, I would say over those 4. So those 4 or 5. I think Colorado has a case to be a top 5 quarterback room in the country. You look at Caden Salter, cannon of an arm, and I don't think he gets enough credit for how good his arm is because he's such an elite dual threat quarterback, right? He is one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the country. Let's just pull up the stats. He is a guy who, anytime the ball's in his hands, he is one broken coverage away from making a defense pay, or is one like rush lane not being filled away from making a defense pay. Career rushing longs, so 38 yards, 43, 52, 41. He rushed for 1,000 yards in 2023, 12 touchdowns. He rushed for 587 yards last season, 7 touchdowns, right? He is a guy who, when the ball's in his hands, dynamic, will make a defense pay, right? And I think he deserves more respect. I feel like because Colorado has Julian Lewis, it almost is like, from the national perspective, it's almost taking away from Caden Salter because it's like, oh, do we know if Caden Salter is any good? It's like, we've seen him be good for the past 2 years. Did he have a little bit of a drop-off last year? Yes, but as Brian Smith, our college football transfer portal insider, broke down for us, Liberty was ravaged by the portal this past year and the NFL, right? They had guys leave for the portal, leave for the pros, and Caden Salter didn't have the same group of weapons that he had when he led Liberty to an undefeated season. He's a Conference USA MVP. They played Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl. Didn't go well, but still led him there, right? So Caden Salter, I think, one, he's dynamic, he's elite, he's electric, and I think people are going to see that too. The guy I just mentioned, Julian Lewis, in a way, I think Julian Lewis being there is like hurting people's opinion on Caden Salter, and there's nothing wrong with it, I guess, respecting Julian, but I think people need to give Caden some more respect. That being said, Julian Lewis should be preparing for his senior year of high school. He should be preparing for Senior Sunrise, Senior SA, the game, the water balloon game. We call it Senior Assassination, I believe is what we call it. I don't know if that's allowed to be said, but that's what it was called back in the day. He should be getting ready for prom. He should be getting ready for walking graduation, senior prank, whatever. No, he's competing with Caden Salter, and we saw him in Colorado spring game, and he has a phenomenal arm. Throws a great ball. He looked a little young, and that's okay. He looked inexperienced, and that's okay. He still had some bright moments. And if people are going to be like, he's not experienced enough, explain to me why a quarterback room with, like, say, and DJ Lagway is good, but 7 starts, and behind him it's Harrison Bailey and Tramel Jones. So a career backup in Harrison Bailey, who's a fizzled out blue chip, and Tramel Jones, who hasn't played. Or Penn State, it's Drew Aller, and that's it. Ohio State is Julian Sand, who's going to be really good. I'm not denying it, but Caden Salter has proven way more in his college career than Julian Sand has. Lincoln Keenholz is there, but we haven't seen anything about him. Tavian St. Clair, same thing. We haven't seen anything from him, right? Miami's quarterback room, is it that impressive? Carson Beck comes off a career low year, and we're still viewing him as one of the best quarterbacks in the country. I think Miami made a grave mistake giving him as much money as they did. That being said, I don't think Colorado's quarterback room is getting enough respect, right? I think they're both capable of making big plays. I think Caden Salter is going to shock some people. I think Caden Salter has a chance to solidify himself as the best quarterback in the Big 12, right? You look at Sam Leavitt, he's there. He's really good. I would say he's probably holding the crown right now. Sawyer Robinson from Baylor, really good. I feel like I'm missing Devin Dampier from Utah's good, right? The list goes on and on. There's a bunch of good guys in the Big 12. Avery Johnson. There's good guys all over. That being said, I think Caden Salter has the highest ceiling because he's going to have more weapons. He's going to have an offense that is catered to him even more, hopefully, because they need it to be catered to him. And he's going to be playing at a higher profile program and on more of a national stage. I think Caden Salter, the sky's the limit for him. I'm kind of shocked that Colorado was left off. Not even an honorable mention, but either way, that's just how it goes. I think this is another chip on the shoulder moment for Salter, for Lewis. Like, hey, the people, the experts, if you will, they don't think you're good. Prove them wrong, right? Prove them like, hey, there's a reason that Coach Prime picked me. There's a reason that Coach Prime in Colorado brought me in. I think they could prove them wrong. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some of the latest recruiting updates for your Colorado Buffaloes. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. The Colorado Buffaloes are 5-star fishing, right? They are in the mix for a recruit who has some of the biggest programs in the country coming after him. His name is Felix Ojo, 5-star offensive tackle from Lake Ridge, Texas. 6'6.5", 275 pounds. Canceled a visit to Oklahoma, but he's taking trips to Colorado, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, and then Florida and Ohio State and Texas as well. He's someone who I think a lot of people are hoping that like the biggest programs in the country are after him. The Colorado Buffaloes have a puncher's chance. They obviously are going to need a lot of things to go their way, being that Texas is sort of the front runner. That being said, never count Deion Sanders out. So I think the Buffs are on the outside looking in there. Doesn't mean they can't make it in, but I would say they're on the outside looking in. 4-star DB, Preston Ashley. It's Colorado, Florida, and Florida State. It's Deion, Coach Prime Sanders, and the two schools in Florida that didn't hire him when they had the chance. He talked to Colorado on 3. He said it would be a blessing to be coached by Coach Prime. But they look past football. They care about the players. They want it to be like family. He said Travis Hunter had his wedding, and they were there. It goes beyond football with Colorado, so I can't wait to get out there. Really like Coach Mathis, too. He was a great cornerback in his time, and he's a great coach. I mean, that's what you want to hear, right? You want to be able to get these kids on campus. You want to be able to show them what you offer, and you just want to be able to impress them in any way you can, because at the end of the day, when you're Deion Sanders, and I don't think people take this seriously, because I feel like people look at Colorado's recruiting classes and they go, oh, they only brought in 13 guys or whatever the number is, right? They kind of just ignore the fact that like Deion Sanders gets things done, and when he really sets his mind to recruiting, he's as dangerous as anyone on the recruiting trail. Right now, the Buffs only have one commit in Gavin Mueller, 3-star tight end out of Illinois, number 12 tight end in the country, or excuse me, number 38 player at his position, number 12 player in the state of Illinois. They only have one commit from the high school ranks. They've also have D'Amato Pecco Jr., the number 1 player in the state of California. The JUCO ranks, number 3 athlete, number 3 player, in the JUCO ranks as well. Colorado needs some things to go their way, and I think they're going to start picking up steam in recruiting once the season gets closer. I feel like Colorado really relies on those official visits during game day. You see the environment, you see the vibes, you get to see Deion Sanders do his thing up close and personal. So there's that. Some negative recruiting news. The Colorado Buffaloes are out of the mix for Oscar Rios, number 2, the 4-star quarterback. The 4-star quarterback recruit. He's an Elite 11 guy. It's down to Arizona and UCLA for the California kid. Number 10 quarterback in the country, 146th player in the country, 21st player in the state of California. They were in the mix for him, and I just think that those other schools, they offer something that Colorado doesn't, which is habitual warm weather. They also have really prominent quarterback coaches now with Seth Doge, at Arizona, and Tino Sunseri at UCLA, who was able to help recruit the Emi Aliavia brothers there. So I think the Buffs, there's going to be a lot more recruiting drama or recruiting action, if you will, for them in the coming weeks, months. This is a big recruiting month for everybody. There's a lot of official visits going on. A lot of these guys try to get it done during summer so that way they can focus, because you can't really hop on a plane very frequently during school. So there's going to be a lot of recruiting things happening. Just know that I will keep you guys updated over here on Locked On Buffs, because I got you updated on every single thing. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Go check out our most recent episode. Former Colorado star Jordan Dominic, who was a part of Deion Sanders' first team in Boulder. He joins the show. He talks about the future of Colorado, the NCAA versus House settlement, and sort of his year and experience playing for Coach Prime. It was a great interview. Learned a lot from Jordan. So go check that out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys next time. This has been Locked On Buffs.